Hey guys, how's it going? It's been a while, I know. So hopefully I can keep some videos coming out every now and then instead of taking a month-long hiatus away from the game. um, no, but actually, in terms of playing, I've actually been playing quite a bit, like a lot of it. um, so I think the main reason I haven't really been putting up a ton of videos is, on one hand, because I'm lazy. On the other hand, because I've just sort of wanted to like post just really good games that sort of cover like every aspect of the build that I would want to talk about. And obviously that doesn't really happen every day, or apparently like every month. So yeah, that's about the gist of it. Hopefully I'll get back on the casting thing. But anyway, another terrible intro. Woohoo! By the way, so of course this is me in the top right as prime time, and in the bottom left we have the red Zerg as Squid something. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but I'm gonna call him Squid, so it's all good. That could be a team name, GEX. I don't really know. So a few things I want to talk about before we get this underway too much. But first, let's analyze one quick thing. Now, this is a PvZ, as you guys can obviously tell. But a lot of my builds, and I know I did do like a lot of analysis on this matchup about a month ago, actually. I don't know if you guys who are watching that now have seen that or not. But anyway, I'm just going to be talking about whatever I find important. So part of this is going to be covering the build order. Part of this is going to be covering just sort of like transitions from early game to mid game, and when you get your gas timings. Some of it's going to be just casting this game because I thought it was pretty cool, and so forth and so on and whatever. Anyway, so first thing that I want to sort of mention is, as usual, pylon on 9, and actually on smaller maps like Cloud Kingdom or oh god. Alright, let me think of one more map that's kind of small. A smaller choke is what I'm referring to. But yeah, maps like Cloud Kingdom where it only takes a handful of buildings to block the entrance, unlike this map or Antigua. I will build this pylon more back here, so that way I can just put beefier buildings on the front wall. But anyway, so you're going to see a basic wall in. By the way, so I rallied this probe down on 12. This was not a mistake. The idea is if I see that he has 6 or 7 pulled me, which is pretty common in this matchup, I'll already have this probe down here. You just cancel the training probes in the Nexus, and you can quickly build the forge, and you can even survive down here and hold off your wall as long as it's not like a bigger choke like this or Antigua. So if this was Cloud Kingdom or one of those other smaller choke maps, it would be very easy to defend down here. If not, you can just build your pylon in your base and then put your cannon down in your base as well. And one cool trick, I'm just going to actually let this game resume. One cool trick you can do is you build your forge down here, you get your pylon in your base as well as your cannon, but you hide a probe somewhere else down near your natural. And what you can do is, as soon as you have your cannon paid for up in your main base, you can sneak the probe and build a cannon at your wall. So that way, when the Zerglings go down to try to kill your pylon and forge, there's already a cannon there, so they can't do that. So then you can even take your natural a lot easier. So that is something I have done once or twice on ladder recently. So you know, sometimes the Zerglings will go down to your natural and kill your cannon before it can warp in which case just cancel it. But to me, it's worth a shot. So anyway, what we're seeing right now is I saw that he was not 6 or 7 pulling me. So what I'm going to do is go with a gateway, then forge opening. So it's actually Nexus on 15, gateway on 15, forge on 15, and then I chrono out 2 workers and then get another pylon. You might think that this is really risky, and sometimes it can get a little bit stressful, I kind of want to say, to hold off early ling pressure because they try to exploit the fact that you don't have a cannon up as soon as you could. But you actually can defend that with a little bit of micro. Actually, I just played in the Play Him tournament about half an hour ago, and I played a Grandmaster Zerg, and he tried to do that exact same thing. We tried to sneak Lings in, but all you need to do, like around this time, Lings would try to be coming to your base. All you need to do is just get your probe ready to build another pylon, and then you can even cancel that pylon if you can get your Zealot out fast enough to hold the wall. So pretty simple stuff there, but figured I would cover that in case you do try to stick with this build. I guess I'm going to stick the build order for the early game in the description down yonder, simply because I don't really want to have this video go on for an hour, so yeah. We just saw that I scouted out his hatchery at his third. That's something you should definitely do, and I guess I'll cover this right now while I get some drink of water. So yeah, get some drink of water, yes. I've sort of noticed that professional players, professional Zergs, will get their hatchery started around 4:30, assuming nothing crazy happens in the early game. And it looks like our pal Squid here got it down at 4:20, which, if my math's correct. So I would recommend scouting their third anywhere from 4:30 to 5:30. And it's kind of weird, like on ladder, even in high masters, like I was actually rank 800 in North America for a little bit, and then I started to screw around, so my rank dropped a little bit. But even up there, Zergs have been throwing down the third hatchery after 5 minutes. So even though if you don't see a third hatchery coming, you can basically assume it's a 2-base all-in, whether that be Banelings, speed, or Banelings, Roaches, a mix of those two, whether it be Mutas, whether it be Nidus, you don't know, but you know you gotta prepare for something like that. But yeah, scouting is really important for that reason. Excuse me for a second. Now there is a lot I could talk about right now, but I think the basic thing I want to cover in terms of the build of this opening, because I have changed the opening build of this quite a bit. And by the way, I'm going to be showing you this 6 Zealot rush / pressure. It's not even so much of a rush as just a good timing to hit. But feel free just to go along your way of going, you know, Gateway Cyber, getting your double gas on 4 minutes or whatever, and then just going from there and then following the build after that, instead of having to do these weird pressures. But in case you want to just try to, you know, mix up your opening build against Zerg, and just in case you're like doing a best of 3 or whatever, it's cool to have different openers that you can hit them with. But in this particular game, I am going to cover it, don't worry. I would recommend getting this gas as soon as you start your Zealot. So once you start your Zealot, go ahead and get this gas, and that is very important. Because the earlier you get your gas, the less chronos you need to spend on your forge, because the earlier you can start your attack weapon upgrade. So just notice that I'm going to be saving quite a bit of chronos. You really can only afford to use 1 or 2 chronos on your Nexus while you're Nexi, I should say, while you're building these first 4 or 5 Zealots out of the 6 in total. And basically, you want to chrono out. Basically, you should be able to leave your base before the 8-minute mark, like even as early as like the 7:30 minute mark, with your 6 Zealots. And you sort of want to time it out so that, I'm going to try to speed this through this just so you can see some basic stuff. And by the way, all that's going on in the base up until this point has been just pylons to make sure I don't get supply blocked. But yeah, so if you can leave your base with +1 not done yet, that's really ideal. Like maybe like 20 seconds left or something like that. And I'm not saying that so you can fight without the +1 upgrade. I'm saying that so it finishes along the way. And if you can do that, that means you've basically spent the perfect amount of chrono boost on the forge. What we see right now is 3 assimilators going down. This is very similar to the previous PvZ video I did, where you get your 3 assimilators around 38 to 40 food. And so just make sure you do that. And then get your cybernetic score after that. Just make sure you don't get supply blocked though. So staying unsupply blocked is better than getting a slightly earlier cyber. So pretty basic stuff there. You see more chronos going down. As of right now I have 4 zealots, so this is 5, and then this next one's going to be 6, and we see it's the 7-minute mark right now. As soon as the zealot builds, just leave your base. There's no point of staying here. If your upgrade's a little bit late, you can just spend another chrono boost on it if you need to. And you can see I'm gearing up to do that right now. Now, what I'm doing right now is actually optional. I'm clearing the towers so he can't see exactly what's coming. And if we look at the production tab, he does have a roach horn coming, so that's good of him. But he's not making units. He actually just made a decent wave of drones, so he doesn't quite know this is coming, and that's because I cleared the watchtowers. And right now, I am moving up to his base. I want to cover just a little bit more of the build order. I hate to just interfere with the game like this, but